Hi guys, can you hear me? All of you, welcome to the NMAT analysis. I do understand some people like Saddant and Aditya are asking questions like whether Quant 73 is good enough for NMAT this year. Let me start off with saying that yes, there is a possibility that 73, 74 should be good enough because this year, across the last 2 months that we have seen, 1.5, 2 months, the quantitative section has been unusually tough, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this session. So welcome to the NMAT session. I'm going to use a presentation, my friends, and you can absolutely ask any questions that you want as you go along. But let me finish one basic discussion on what should you expect as far as NMAT 2021 is concerned. I hope you are also seeing the presentation clearly. What I'm going to talk to you about is the first initial part of it is that, hey, what are the most important things that you need to take care of when you are writing this NMAT exam? The second thing is, of course, at the end of it, I'll also give you my idea of what can come, what should you prepare for if there is a value, if you have time to prepare, and more importantly, what could be the cutoffs that you can expect this year for NMIMS Mumbai, KJ Somaiya, XUB, that is Xavier's Bhubaneswar, for their HR course. Let me start off with the basic NMAT checklist. The NMAT checklist, guys, it's very, very important that you have all these things ready when either you're taking a home center or at the center itself. The NMAT admit card, the confirmation email sent by the test center, original photo ID proof, and the original signature ID proof. That is very, very important. The reason why I'm asking that is important is because once you have these basic cards, guys, you will start realizing that the process, the first initial process of validation itself takes time if you are not at the center. Of course, if you're at the center, once you're center, I'm just making sure that there is a right PPT that I have, guys. Okay, once you confirm, then it's a smooth sailing all around. At center, there is a very simple 4-step process. Login using the credentials provided by the test center. There is an NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, and it'll take you 2 minutes to read it and sign it, so to say, accept it. Of course, there's a tutorial. You can spend 8 minutes, but I will tell you, you can finish that in 2 minutes, 3 minutes flat, but you have a proper 8 minutes. But then after that, you are expected to select your sectional order, the section. NMAT is the only exam among all the Indian exams, which is also an online exam, by the way, which will help you, or rather which will allow you to decide which section you do first, which second, which third. There are 3 sections, as I'm sure all of you know, and I'm going to talk about that soon. If it's an exam like an IIFT, or as an exam like a computer based without any kind of a sectional time limits, then it's a completely different ball game. However, CAT, for example, you will have to kind of take it as per the time limits given to you only. NMAT also is per the time limit given to you, except that you can choose the order of the sections. The user interface of NMAT is very, very simple, very easy to understand, and I thought it's very important for all of you to know what to expect if you are writing this exam. Timer displayed at the top right hand corner, and question number of the section displayed right below the timer. That's interesting. One important thing is you have to select and click on next at the bottom right corner. It's almost like here kind of things. And the more important thing is, like CAT also, like unlike CAT, but more like GMAT, more like other international exams, you cannot navigate to a previous question. Remember, Those of you who have written CAT or
Excuse
IFT.
me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Actually, the
Correct.
PPT is not visible.
Oh, seriously? That's sad.
Yeah, it's
One
on. We
second.
are on the home page. We only NMAT 21 analysis is the page that is visible to us. It's
Okay.
not
Let
moving.
let me again share the screen. I'm so sorry about that. Is this now visible?
Uh, yes, yes. Now
Now
it
it is
is.
visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me quickly take you through what I have done very, very quickly, guys. Welcome to NMAT analysis. NMAT checklist that you need to have ready is the NMAT admit card, the confirmation email sent by the test center, the original photo ID proof, as well as the signature ID proof. These two are two different things, and you need to have both of them ready. It cannot be the same thing. And that's very, very clearly given in the instructions. At the test, you need to do a four-step process, logging using the credentials provided by the test center. There is an NDA clause that you need to accept, go through the tutorials, and interestingly, select your sectional order. Please understand that in CAT, the three sections VA, RC, LI, DILR, and QA were already fixed, right? But in NMAT, you can select the order in which you will write. Of course, the timings are well already defined. I'll talk about that in a moment. Now, this is what I was talking about, the NMAT UI. The most important part of it, is that you cannot navigate to a previous question. You cannot navigate to a previous question. Now, why is that important? Why is that important? Because once you have answered the question, in fact, you cannot go to the next question if you can't answer this question. It is like the GMAT exam. If you look at CAT, if you look at an IIFT, if you look at when you write a ZAT, you will see that you can navigate between questions within the same section. So if you don't want to answer a question, you can skip that question and go to the next question. Here you won't be able to go. You have to select the option choice and click next at the bottom right corner. Only then you'll go to the next question. And that's an important change that you need to understand as far as the NMAT is concerned. But as you can see, the test structure is standardized with 108 questions, 36 questions in each of the three sections. Language, which is the VARC that we talk about, the logical reasoning skills, and the quantitative skills. The data interpretation comes under quantitative skills in the NMAT paper. And like, again, I'm talking about for CAT. The other important thing, the other very, very important thing is the time allotted. There are 28 minutes allotted for the language section, 40 minutes allotted for the logical reasoning section, and only 52 minutes available for the quantitative ability section, which also means, like, I think that student was asked very quickly in the very beginning, like, for example, Aditya Chand says that I fear I've scored only 73. He says the reason that is important is to realize that, look, even giving 52 minutes, there are a lot of people who do not score enough marks. The only thing that I can talk about, the only thing I can tell about this is that the cutoff last year was 76, could probably be less than that this year. There are two reasons for that. The first reason for that is that I will come back to the numbers again, but I thought I want you to I want you to listen to this carefully. Last year, the cutoff was 76 in each of the three sections and 235 marks for the NMIMS Mumbai campus, NMIMS Mumbai campus, 235. If you look at 76, 76, 76, that's 210 plus 18, 228. This year, there are two changes. The first change is, if you want to get into NMIMS Mumbai, you can only be selected, or you can only be considered, you will only be considered if it is your first attempt marks. Last year, people wrote 2 attempts, 3 attempts also. So you had more time to improve. This time you don't. But having that means to say, ideally, the 235, considering that it is the same 235 will continue, the overall score should reduce a bit. as far as the NMIS Mumbai is concerned, because there's only one attempt. Having said that, there is a slight change this year also. Many students who are very, very keen are not writing in October but are writing in December. Many of you are writing in December. I'm sorry, no, I'm not saying the people who wrote in October are not serious, but I'm saying many more people are appearing in December, especially because it's only one time game for NMIS Mumbai. What does that mean for us? What does that mean is, very simply, you have finished your preparation for CAT, you will probably written IFT, you're already close to your SNAP exam, which means your broad preparation is over. Unlike last time, when somebody wrote in October, we're not fully prepared for CAT, right? Remember, there was 2 months gap still, 1.5 month gap still for the CAT exam to get over. But this time, CAT is over, the pressure is over, and you're writing an easier exam, and hence, typically more people will get more scores. So because it's only one time, the 235 should come down, but because more people are a little more prepared, again, it is an assumption that I'm making, the overall score will go up. So once again, the cutoff will not change too much, is a kind of a prediction that we are making as far as NMAT and NMIMS Mumbai is concerned. But the rest of them, like the KJ Somaya, XUB, I think will not change too much, is what I would say. Okay. Now, here is a text experience. A few surprises, like Aditya has talked about. QA was tougher than usual, and VA was much easier. That is, language was much easier than normal. But I said the expected cutoff may be same for both VA and RC, VA and QA, or even DA, logical reasoning, simply because for some logical or illogical reason, last year, despite the change in difficulty level, they have kept the cutoffs at the same level. Now, I believe that's also because you have 28 minutes for verbal or language, which is easier. You have 40 minutes for the language or the logical reasoning section, which was maybe mildly tougher, and 52 minutes for your quant, which is higher than normal tough, which means to more tough than normal, which means to say time change, this time change in each of the sections, despite having the same 36 questions that we have seen in the previous slide, will make sure that the cutoffs for each of the sections may continue to be same this year also. Okay, now the next is, let's look at the overall analysis for 2021. Again, please understand, this is one set of exam. This is an adaptive exam. Each one of you, when you go in, will have a different level of, different number of questions coming to you, which means to say, if a student gets 12 questions in RC, somebody might get 16 also, and somebody actually got 20 also. Which means if somebody got 16 here, would have got 20, or this would have been only 16 too. It has happened. That means there are more than 3 RCs, 4 RCs, or even 5 RCs sometimes possible. Happened. But the only good thing about in all the people who have got in this year's language section is that typically it was not been very difficult. It's been easy to moderate for all the people who have written this exam. Similarly, logical reasoning had analytical reasoning and verbal reasoning. While I have put one number here, which is total equal to 42. So sorry, my 36. This is not necessarily required that 17 and 19 were there. It could have been 14 here and 22 here, or it could have been 18 here and 18 here. I think individually, every student gets approximately similar kind of questions like the 18 here, but it could be plus or minus 3, which is incidentally same for the quantitative ability section also. So when you're going to an interview, when you're going to write an exam like an NMAT, please notice that you don't go with the feeling that, oh, I'm going to get 16 questions in DI or DS. There is one student I know who has got 24 questions. No, it's an aberration. There were only 12 quant questions. They won't change it, but it's an adaptive paper, like I said. Similarly, somebody got 16 questions or even 20 questions in RC. It's an aberration, all right. But if you look at the overall levels of difficulty, it will remain similar kind of things. The order of preference. Okay, by the way, this should be here reverse. Quantitative skills was more, this was easy, but this was more like moderate or even slightly difficult than normal. More than easy or moderate, I would put it as lengthy as far as this quantitative ability section in this year's NMAT has been concerned. In fact, people did not reach the entire 36 question in 52 minutes, except for those people who are very clear that, look, you had to reach that number fast. So the part, again, this is anybody's order of preference. Doesn't matter whether you look at, you decide what is your order of preference. I have always believed that it's easier to finish language and then the logical reasoning and then the quantitative skills, much like the CAT exam. I think it's a very, very comfortable area as far as you are prepared. But this is one order of preference. You could have a completely different, where this could be 1, this could be 2, this could be 3, or this could be 1 also, this could be 2, and this could be 3 also. Feeling that, okay, you want to end with a nice kind of thing, and you are very fresh when you are starting quantitative ability. I'm not saying this is any correct or wrong. All I'm going to tell you, my friends, is just make sure that you write some mocks, and you ensure that whichever mocks you have written in certain orders, and whichever is giving you more or better, the rhythm of writing. I'm not saying marks alone. The rhythm of writing is very important, because once you get the rhythm of writing, you will be far, far, far better. And that is one you need to prefer. Okay. So here is what I'm going to stop screen sharing for a moment and make sure that you guys, Aditi, you wanted to say something? I have my colleague also here who has just joined us. I think I'm just going to make sure that we have updated the NMAT analysis a bit. So I thought the updated analysis will be better to show than this one, right? So I'm just going to showcase to you in a moment of what we have done. Here we go. Aditya, can you just confirm whether I'm able to showcase the right thing?
Yes, sir.
You're able to see, right? I just wanted to make sure
Yes.
that what I'm showing is right. Okay. This one, is it fine now? Just one quick check. Is that fine? Okay. I think I'm able to showcase that, right? TK, you will be fine, friend. So Aditya, once the entire slots are done and the last exam is done, they will release the entire experience. So what happened in language skills? Let's quickly look at that. The reading comprehension, 12 questions approximately. Parajumbles, the usual things that we suspect are there. Analogies, very important. Fill in the blanks, vocabulary and prepositions, and grammar of 6 questions. Most of it, as I said, was not difficult. Even RC was not very, very difficult if you had done it correctly. Overview of it, all the fill in the blanks, all of them were easily doable with the help of options. Even if you did not know the words, if you read it correctly, I think not only that you could do it fast, not only you do it correct, you will do it out of fast, meaning something like 2-3 minutes is enough to do these 8 questions. Therefore, one important thing that you need to understand, that you need to give certain time for the RC. We'll talk about that. RC, most type of questions were either inference or main idea based questions. Parajumbles, unlike our great CAT, there were options, and options are of course greatly helpful when you write this. Though there were no direct vocab questions like synonym antonyms, there were analogies where again analogies also, the options will become important. When you talk about analogy, any kind of a relationship between two words, by making a sentence in connecting the two words, it's going to be very easy to look at the four choices and find out which of those two sentences, two words are getting connected exactly the same way as the original two words given to you. One strategy that I can talk about is, if the paper starts with non-ARC questions, spend a little time, use options, get them correct, because that is where you score your maximum marks. Having said that, RCs might appear in between. There will be 12 questions on an average. So you need to have at least a 12-minute plan minimum available as far as the RCs are concerned. There could be 3 or 4 RCs. As I can say, if 12, 13 minutes or even 14 minutes you spend, another 14 minutes are available for the rest of the questions, which means 28 minutes for the language skills section is more than sufficient, unless you happen to be that one a little bit unlucky guy who gets 5 RCs suddenly. It might not happen, is what I'm saying. And like anybody will do, you please play to your strengths. What about logical reasoning? Once again, one area which a lot of people have a problem with is input output. A lot of people come back and ask, sir, how do I prepare for it? All I am saying is, do some 5 to 10 sets from the mocks that we give you, from the mocks that we give you. That's the best way to do it. Then arrangement is going to be easy. Probably grouping will be easy. Arrangement and grouping has always come in your NMAT exam. Venn diagram sometimes 2, 3, very, very easy if you know the basics of Venn diagrams, of a 2-set diagram or a 3-set diagram, three element set diagram. Issues can happen with figure-based numerical reasoning. While I am writing it insane, sometimes it's easy, sometimes you just don't get the idea at all. Logical reasoning also had a P&C question. It could have come in a quant section, but it has also come in P&C as far as the NMAT is concerned. In verbal reasoning, we have the usual suspects like syllogisms, couple of questions. You have the verbal logic, the strong argument, weak argument, which is like the maximum number of questions. Statements, assumption, conclusions also was kind of very easy this time. Everybody who came out said that this is not very difficult. And decision making is something which is like very, very important to take a decision, take a call on, but do not waste too much of time on that. 2-3 questions not going to make too much of a difference in the overall thing. What is the overview? Analytical reasoning, definitely doable. Critical reasoning, a little bit was challenging, especially. But however, paragraph summary also made way into logical reasoning. And there could be a, like I said, P&C, one quant-based or a numerical-based question can easily appear under the analytical reasoning section. Now, whether there's going to be 17-19, 18-18 or 19-17 questions in the AR and the VR area is anybody's guess. Don't worry too much about it. This is the broad idea that you can get. What is the strategy? Typically, remember, there are 36 questions and you have 40 minutes. On an average, you have almost just about more than 1 minute per question. So the best way to look at it is, can you make, hey, am I doing 10 minutes, 9 questions at a time? So every 10th minute, if you check and you are at the 9th question, 18th question, 27th question and the 36th question, I think you are doing fantastically fine. Make sure that you do it completely confidently. The rest of them, you can just mark them fast, because you remember, you can go to the next question only if you have answered the previous question. Once again, like in VARC or for that matter anything else, stick to your strengths. That means whatever the strength area, make sure that your accuracy is right. The others, quickly take a decision rather than getting bogged down or thinking that, oh, is this the answer or that is the answer. Last, quantitative ability, very quickly, if you look at it, percentages, again, the usual suspects of arithmetic, percentages, ratios, simple interest, time and work, profit and loss. These are like almost entire thing is arithmetic. As you can see clearly here, zero geometry and mensuration. Of course, 4-5 questions in algebra basics. Like in LR, permutations and combinations and probability does make a comeback, both in SNAP and NMAT. Remember this always. Last year, we had DI lengthy questions. This year, for some reason, the DI is straightforward, which is good so that people can make. But having said that, each of these papers, at the end of it, people felt that it was becoming difficult despite having lots of easy questions, which means to say, that is what I was trying to say, that despite the easiness of the paper, because there are 36 questions and 52 minutes only, mind you, you guys are coming out of a CAT exam which had 22 questions and 40 minutes. So technically you should be able to, and in 22 questions also you could have done 10, 12 questions. Here the expectation is that you need to do all 36 questions in 52 minutes. And that, I think, is the pressure that you get through. Even though the papers were easy, the questions were easy, I think in general, I'm saying most people find it difficult. And that's the reason why the cutoff may come down slightly. Though DI was doable, arithmetic doable, the numbers questions and algebras were a little tricky, the algebra questions and a little bit of numbers. DS questions were doable, but DS is not an easy area to crack more often than not. And the overall analysis, here is what I am putting it across. But okay, there is a slight change here. This should be 72 here and 75 here. 72 for quantitative skills and 75 for logical reasoning skills. But again, if I look at what happened last year, it could be a 74, 74, 74 cutoff, or a 73, 73, 73 cutoff, or if some of us are unlucky, it could be a 75, 75, 75 cutoff with a 232 to 236 as the cutoff for the NMIMS Mumbai. And that's what I'm going to showcase to you. The safe scores in NMIMS Mumbai will be 235 plus. Bangalore and others will be 230 and 220 plus. KJ Somaya again can be 230, 235. And Extreme Bhubaneswar HR, because of the less number of seats available, will be as high as 240 with the same 75, 76 as the cutoffs. All the best for you. But before I leave you, let me just do one simple idea for what I missed out in the very beginning. Okay, one thing I missed out is, those of you who have come in later, just realize one thing, that the order of preference that you can do, you will have to choose it. And all the mocks that you're writing also, please choose it in the same level, is what I would say. Okay, with that, let me take some questions which are there at the end, so that it will become easier for me to answer all these questions. Just give me one moment, if I can stop screen sharing. And yeah, let me just quickly answer most of the questions that are there. I also believe that, Maninder, it hopefully will. Nishant, that should be more than 229, 75, 76, 78. Last year there was no call because 76 was a cutoff, Nishant. This is Nishant's number. Ranjana is asking 234, 73, 78 is 83. 73, ideally, if I were to look at rationally, should be good enough, Ranjana, Selvaraj. But again, I'm saying what I saw last year, if it continues, you just might have miss something by a mark or two, is what I would say. No, you don't have to do, Saurabh. Abhijit, 69 in quant, very, very unlikely to clear even for exam Bhubaneswar, because the cutoff could be higher for that too. 89, 86, 76, 77, Nicholas Dranfield will be 100% sure for NMIMS Mumbai. 233, LS, 80, 71. 71, Komal, you can get everything else except NMIMS Mumbai, is what I'm saying. And I'll only say QA is a little bit of an undoing for you. I'm so sorry about that, but very, very difficult to say. What is a good score in CL and NMAT mocks? Kaushik, it doesn't matter what the good scores are, but I'm saying anything around 220, 220, you are getting on a regular basis for the CL mocks. You can easily get 235, 240 also. Sadhana, if you're getting 237, 76, 77, 82 will be more than sufficient. In fact, I'm saying you will definitely get a NMIMS call according to whatever the feedback and the scores have been last year. 77, Nicholas, will be good enough. Tejas, 94, 80, 77, good enough is what I would say. You will definitely make it. 245 in these things, Shikimaru, also good enough. I think I have given all these answers. Sectional cutoff for Anirudh Kothari, NMIMS Bangalore also will be somewhere around the same 76, 76, 76. But this year, my bet is it will be 73, 73, 73 or 74, 74, 74. Last slots will not be really tough, guys. Don't worry about that. Saurabh Mukherjee, 91, 80, 76. I don't think you should worry too much about it, is what I would say. Okay. So I feel that should not be an issue. What will be the good score for covering NMI converting? I said 235, Siddhant. Converting again is an interview process, Siddhant. At the end of the day, there are people who converted 235 and people who have not converted 255 also. But I think safe will be around 240, 245 plus. Pankaj, it should be good enough. Deepankar, will my scores improve? Yes, there is a very, very good chance. Deepankar, go and enjoy your exam. You will be able to do that. 71, Mayank, will be a little bit of a tough call simply because QA 71, my bet is it will not cross the cutoff despite the overall cutoff getting crossed. NMAT dual degree, sir, if you don't mind. Chaitanya, my bet is dual degree will be at 230 also, or even 220 for that matter. It could be as 220, 225 itself. Saksham Gandhi 222 would be a good score to keep alive. Very, very unlikely for NMIMS Mumbai, but for others, yes, there is a chance, especially the Mumbai and Bangalore, all other courses of NMIMS. NMIMS Mumbai is the better one, Harsh Savalia. Shubham, 220, chances of getting to NMIMS Mumbai or NMIMS Bangalore are almost zero. Even Navi Mumbai is zero, but you can get other courses like the business analytics course of NMIMS in the Mumbai campus as well as the digital transformation course. Very likely Reshmant, it will be in February. 75 is a score which is safe, is what I expect, Anupam, this year. Thanks, Chaitanya. NMIMS Navi Mumbai Komal will be slightly better than Bangalore, but I would say I wouldn't mind too much between Bangalore and Navi Mumbai. I said, Anupam, 75 could be a very, very, border score, but could be safe score this year because this is the first time. This is the first, only one attempt is given for NMIMS. I hope I have answered as many questions as possible. And XIM Bhubaneswar, Kanishka Goel, you will not get at 207, Kanishka, unless you are from, from Orissa. 201, very, very unlikely, Harshit. Business analytics course. At 201, you may not get it. It's also 215. So 246 is a very good score, Chakravarti. You can get XUB, HR and KJ Somaya, both. And there are so many others also which are there. 259, QA 73, Vaishnavi Sonwalkar. My only, my heart goes out to you. 259 is a fantastic score, but I believe that it might not get you an NMIMS Mumbai call. That's my thinking. I hope you get it, but I don't want to keep high hopes. 73 could be the border case. That, in fact, a few days back I was saying it's 70, but looking at what they have done, I hope they consider the difficulty of the paper. If they do consider, 73 will be getting you that call, Vaishnavi. Otherwise, I can only say please do apply to XUB, HR and KJ Somaya. You will make it, hopefully. Unlikely others from. I've given you the 232 to 235 is the base minimum for NMIMS Mumbai. That's what I will say. Again, I'm going to answer the same questions again. Let me thank you for joining me here completely. We will be back with other analysis, snap analysis coming on 19th. Make sure that you're there at 5:30. I think 5:30 is the time after the exam is over, where we'll give you what scores would be right for the snap test 1 on 19th of December. Yes, Eden. What I'm saying is KJ Somay also will not go down much. That's what I'm saying. Okay? Right. Thank you so much and wish you all the very best to all of you.